You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.
Welcome to the Hot Options Report, your premier source for insight into the fast-moving options market. Each day, we'll track down the products that are dominating the options chains and impacting your trading account. From Apple to VIX and everything in between, if it's lighting up the options tape, then you'll find it on the Hot Options Report. And now, get ready to scan the tape for the most explosive options activity on the street. It's time for the Hot Options Report.
All right, everybody. That music means it is time for the Hot Options Report for Wednesday, July 30th. The Hot Options Report is brought to you by Public. Now, if you're listening to this show, chances are that you're pretty serious about options trading. So let me put something on your radar. Public. It's the most cost-effective way to trade options. That's because Public is the only platform that gives you rebates on your options trades. They also have some of the industry's lowest index options fees, whether you're placing single leg or complex multi-leg trades. Every dollar counts. Check out public.com/optionsbrief and discover the most cost-effective way to trade options. Again, the Hot Options Report brought to you by Public. Full disclosures in the podcast description. Let's get down to business, shall we? Let's kick it off in the realm of volatility, aka VIX. Was today a hot day in VIX options? The answer was yes. It was, after all, a Fed day. That usually tends to add a little bit of action, at least in the second half of the session, as the market is digesting whatever the Fed chief had to say. And that led to a little bit of red on the major index screen today and a little bit more action in VIX options. 836,000 contracts hitting the tape today against an ADV of 701,000. So a little bit more paper out there, which is respectable when we're heading into the start of August, usually a pretty quiet time in the vol market. What was the hot option out there in VIX today? A wild one. It was the October 60s. So pretty far out in time and pretty far up the strike chain, going up 76, almost 77,000 times today. By the way, VIX going out, obviously nowhere near the 60 handle. VIX cash at a 1588 to wrap up the day out there. So OX 60, some funky stuff lighting it up out there in VIX land today. As we keep on rolling out to SPY, was it an active day? And SPY was decent, 7.5, a little over half, about 7.55 million contracts changing hands in SPY. The ADV a little bit shy of 7 3/4 out there. So within spitting distance of its ADV, but unlike VIX, not exceeding it today. What was the hot option in SPY today? 334,000 of these 637 calls. If you sold those and held them to expiration at the end of the day, you're a happy camper, because SPY went out a little bit shy of 634.5 today. Let's mix it up. Let's go glass half full today. Why not? As we keep on rolling out to the S, was it a hot day in the S? It was decent as well. 3.5 million. The ADV is 3.6 million. So right within spitting distance there. The hot option in the S today going to the dark side, to the puts. 63.30 puts going up 95,000 times today. Unfortunately, if you paid for those and held them to the end of the day, not a happy camper. But then again, if you sold them for literally anything, you're doing all right now. The S going out north of that, 63.62. out there today, listeners. So yeah, interesting. 63.30 puts. An intriguing strike out there as we keep on rolling out to small caps. IWM 1.66 million, beating its ADV of 1.35 million right now, listeners. The hot option in small caps getting back to what we saw a few weeks ago. August downside leading the dance. It was the August expiring on the 29th, so end of month this time. 215 puts going up 89,000 times today. By the way, IWM going out right around 221.5. So the 215 strike by the end of August. Can we get there, listeners? We'll keep an eye on it as we keep on rolling out to the Qs. Was it a hot day in the Nasdaq? The answer was actually not really. 3.3 million. The ADV almost 3.7 million out there. So surprisingly kind of light in the Qs given how much action we saw in some other indices today. The hot option in the Qs today, 187,000 of the 570s. Again, expiring today. And keeping it glass half full. If you sold them for anything and held them till the end of the day, you're a happy camper. Q's going out right around 568 today. To the land of the single name equity options we go. Cost you 421,000 contracts to break into the top 10 today. That's kind of light. That gets you to our old pal Microsoft. Of course, a lot popping off in the after hours as we record this, listeners. A lot of big names announcing right now, including Microsoft and Meta. So if you like your M tech names, you're getting a lot of action in the after hours. Nonetheless, our old pal Microsoft putting up 421,000 contracts for a rear low spot coming in at number 10 today. What was the hot option heading into earnings today, listeners? It was 12,000 of the 530 calls out there in Microsoft. Again, expiring at the end of the week. If you were buying those, listeners, you need Microsoft to get in gear. Microsoft went out a little bit north of the 513 strike, right around 513 and a quarter today. So either way, 530s got a bit of a ways to go. Maybe you hope that earnings is pretty blockbuster. And you know what? Looking at the after hours right now, if you bought those 530s, looks like the average price was $3.28. You're a happy camper right now. Right now in the after hours, Microsoft 548 and a quarter. And obviously, that's first blush. Stock's going to whip around a little bit. But right now, those 530s are looking pretty darn good. So there you go, listeners. It's like you already got a little bit of a home run. Obviously, options don't trade in the after hours. That's a big complaint a lot of people have during earnings season. I get it. So you can't take those off. So it could open down tomorrow, and those 530s could end up being worthless. But that's the game you play when you're trading options, listeners. Out to number 9, our old pal UNH from yesterday. Fallen to number 9 today, 449,000 contracts on the tape. The hot option in UNH today, 21,000 of the 470 puts. Again, we're keeping on this track of some wild strikes out here in UNH. UNH, by the way, going out today right around 266. So again, funky strikes afoot in the top 10 today, listeners. Number 8 is a newcomer to our hot options report show. We haven't talked about it yet. And of course, it's been quite some time since we've seen this name put up this kind of paper. It's Paramount, listeners. Good old Paramount Global. 459,000 contracts on the tape in Paramount. Of course, there's been a lot of talk about this name of late, listeners. And what was the hot option out there in Paramount today? There was some wild stuff going up today. There were some reversal conversions, which you know anything about options are pretty much just synthetics to capture interest rate differentials out there. So a lot of those going up out there today. But the actual hot option in Paramount today was actually 81,000 of the Jan 10 calls, which is, again, an interesting strike, a meaty strike. Paramount going out $13.30 today. Maybe if there's a theme for today's hot options report, it is wild strikes abound out here as we keep on rolling to number 7. Again, keeping it in the M Tech earnings and in the Mag 7, it's Meta. 482,000 contracts on the tape today. The hot option in Meta today, comparatively light, only 14,000 of the 750 calls expiring on Friday. I'm seeing a theme here between Microsoft and Meta, both, shall we say, optimistic, both out of the money, end of week call trades out there. Microsoft are looking pretty good. Let's take a look at Meta out here and see how they're looking. And you know what? This is another one, listeners. Those 750s seem outlandish with the stock price closing right around $6.95 and a quarter. But in the after hours, things are looking spicy Meta, 758 right now. So those calls, again, looking pretty good. They had an average price of nearly $5, $4.90. They weren't messing around with those calls, and yet they're still looking pretty good, at least right now in the after hours. It also shows you how much of a move you need to make nearly a $5 call expiring in a few days, how much that has to happen to pay off, because right now, stock 757.5. You're making money still, but you're getting close to break even. If it drops a little bit, the stock could run 50 handles, and you could still end up losing money on this trade. So again, wild. Be careful paying that much for premium, listeners, going into an earnings announcement. Again, it would be extremely disappointing if you see in the after hours getting all the way up there, those calls looking good, only for the stock to open lower, and those calls not exactly paying off anymore. Again, you can trade stock against it. There's a lot you can do, but challenging time at trading options around earnings as we keep on rolling to number 6, listeners. This is the fruit company, aka Apple. 498,000 contracts, all the way at number 6, not even north of 500,000 yet. Again, a quiet day here on the hot options report. The hot option, such as it was in the fruit company today, 22,000 of the 215 calls. A lot of twos in there, listeners, going out at the end of the week. Apple going out right around the 209 strike. Unfortunately for those Apple call traders, if you're buying them, don't have the same obvious catalysts that the rest of the tech names do. But then again, maybe a little bit of a lift for the Mag 7 will lift the rest of the tech market out there. Going on to number 5, it's our old pal Mara. 627,000 contracts on the tape for them. Mara, of course, having earnings earlier this week, closing today right around $16.50. We were talking about these and this name really on the crypto rundown on our network earlier this week, and some interesting premium sale opportunities out there. What was the hot option out there in Mara today? It was the 15 half puts expiring at the end of the week, going up 58,000 times, listeners. So a pretty active contract out there. As we keep on rolling to number 4, back to SoFi we go. 756,000 contracts on the tape for SoFi. The hot option in SoFi today, 34,000 of the 20 half puts expiring on Friday. SoFi going out a little bit shy of the 22 strike, 21.87 to be precise. Roll on to number 3. This chip love continues to carry AMD and other names to lofty heights, at least from a volume perspective, and also from a price perspective. AMD coming in at number 3, listeners, 818,000 contracts on the tape. Another good day for them, popping another $2 and change, closing right around 179.5. And it was the 180 calls expiring at the end of the week, going up 106,000 times. That was the bell of the ball out there in AMD today. By the way, already north of that in the after hours, getting carried north on Tech Love right around 182. So those are looking pretty decent right now. As we keep on rolling to the number 2 spot, order has been restored to the options market. Tesla's at number 2, right around 1.6 million contracts on the tape for them today. Tesla closing right around the 319 strike, and it was 104,000 of the 325 calls expiring on Friday that were the hot option out there today. As we keep on rolling to the number 1 spot, again, order has been restored in the options market. Nvidia at the top of the list. Tesla number 2. That's what we've come to know and love out there. Nvidia closing a little bit shy of the 180 strike, 179.25 to be precise. Putting up nearly 3 million contracts today. And the hot option in Nvidia today, 546,000 of the 180 calls expiring. Take a guess when? On Friday. Let's take a look at the after hours really quickly. I have a feeling those are looking pretty good right now. And they are. Nvidia right now in the after hours, right around 180.75. Tech love carrying a lot of the market north in the after hours. Will a lot of these hot options we talked about, will they make it by the end of the week on Friday? We got to tune into the hot options report tomorrow and indeed Friday to find out. And whatever you're doing, stay safe out there, everybody.
Check out public.com/optionsbrief and discover the most cost-effective way to trade options. Paid for by Public Investing. Full disclosures in podcast description.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/The Options Insider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.